Hey there. It's been a it's been a second since the last time we've talked. Um so I a lot has happened. Not too much, but a bit has happened. I was homeless for like 5 to 7 days. Um I got kicked out as I told you in the last video. And well, I'm back now at my home, as you can see behind me. I met a girl. Her name is Sana. She's an Indian. Dots, not feathers, but not even dots because she's not a Hindu. She's a Muslim. And, well, I'm a Muslim too. I just recently converted. And Islam is a religion that I've flirted with for the past 2 years already. I thought about it here and there and here and there. Because it was around 2 years ago when I found God. Or I guess when I was kind of forced to, right? That's a whole different story. I'll make a video about it one of these days. But I met this girl, right? Obviously, Sana, and we talk and we hang out and this and that. And she's 22 years old, by the way. I'm only 19. I only am interested in girls that are older than me. Not because of some fetish or mommy kink or whatever. It's because, well, I just don't like girls my age, I think. Not all of them, but all the ones that I know personally are stupid. They're all hedonistic. They're all decadents. And I'm not saying that I'm better than any of these people. Nobody's better than anybody, of course. But I'm saying that these are not the people that I want to mother my children. Because unlike most people in America, I don't date for fun, okay? I don't date to, oh, like I'm gonna meet this new person, or like, oh, I can't wait, like the sex is gonna be so amazing, right? Like anybody who's tried actual dating knows that if you have sex too early, it ruins the relationship, and it just, you know. Because it's all you think about is the sex. I'm gonna move this so you can actually see my face, so there's more of a connection, and you actually feel like you're talking to someone and not just looking at a fucking steering wheel. Sorry, I shouldn't be swearing. But yeah, she has the same values that I do, you know, family, God, and like having a career, just traditional Eastern values. And well, I was gonna bring this up to her, like surprise her, right? With a ring or something, and be like, will you marry me? You know, because she is not an immigrant. She didn't migrate to this country. She's just here on a work visa. And her visa expires in October. And if I marry her, then I could get her citizenship and she wouldn't have to leave. And you might be thinking, oh, you've only known this person for about 2 weeks. Why would you want to marry her? You know, like, what if you don't like her? What if, this, that? And yeah, sure, you're totally right, of course. But the way that I was looking into it was that, well, what's the point in dating someone if you're not going to marry them? And if I already know that we have the same values, then I'm already like dating her, and eventually I'm gonna marry her, so why not just do it now? But that's selfish. It is. It's very selfish because I'm not viewing her as a person at that point. I'm viewing her as an objective, not an object, but an objective, as another goal, right? Because, yeah, of course, it's a goal of mine to have a wife, it's a goal of mine to have kids, it's a goal of mine to have a career, all these things that, like, it's on the checklist. But she's not a check mark, she's a person. She's not a box to fucking. So the next time I see her, I'm gonna have to apologize to her for that. Because I figured, instead of surprising her with a ring or with, a question of, will you marry me? I just started bringing it in here and there, mentioning it, like, oh, what if we get married, or when we get married, or our kids, or this and that. Because don't get don't get me wrong, I'm not one to just like meet a girl and be like, oh, she's the most amazing, yeah, yeah. I have an abundancy mindset, right? I've met a lot of girls that I think, oh wow, she's interesting. She's smart, she's intelligent, she's rational, she's beautiful, she has a beautiful mind, she's like, I've met like a couple people, obviously, at this point, that I dated a girl that knew French, and it inspired me to learn French. And she was very liberal, and I was very liberal at the time. I'm obviously not now. I'm a lot more conservative. Honestly, I'd like to say I'm more in the middle, right? Where I'm not just a workhorse or a pack mule, and I just work and never have time for my family, right? Like most conservative fathers, and that's where they mess up, right? Where it's like, oh, now they work too much, and now they have no time for their kids, and they almost ruin their kids because they don't have that father son connection, you know. And on the other hand, I'm not a pussy, right? I'm not a little bitch who complains about women's rights and men's depression and this and that and whatever, right? But I'm all about love and family and equality. So I'm in the middle, right? Obviously, there's parts of me that are more conservative, there's parts of me that are more liberal. And I'm using political terms in a non political sense, so please don't take this out of context. I don't care for either party. I think the idea of a party system is stupid. I mean, George Washington was right. We shouldn't have had parties because that just divides people and it puts people in boxes, right? So it's like if you disagree with this person, then you must be this. Or if you disagree with that, then you must be that. And no, it's stupid, you know. I guess I would consider myself a libertarian, where, again, not in the political sense, of course. I have to clarify that now. But I consider myself a libertarian in the fact that I live and let live, right? You know, I'll do me, you do you. And I consider myself a rational person, but I'm also very extreme. Like I've even with like that political stuff kind of I've been a bit of an extremist where or I guess that's not political right again still, but I was very liberal and feminist from in 2022 because I was very influenced by Kurt Cobain and punk rock and the grunge scene. And don't get me wrong, all those things are cool, right? And they still inspire me today, but just not with things like that. Because I've seen it, you know, I've seen how feminism has destroyed the West. And I'm not saying that, obviously, it's not just, you know, because of that, but it's like, when, I mean, just when women's sexuality and men's sexuality, for that matter, too, is liberated, then of course people are going to fall into decadence and hedonism. Like, think about it. If you didn't, like, obviously, or I guess this isn't obvious, right? But I'm not a virgin, you know, and I'm not married. I've had sex before getting married, but I don't think I'm gonna have sex for the rest of my life until I meet someone who I believe I'm gonna get married to. And hell, I might even just not get, I might just not have sex with them until I get married. Like my mother and my stepdad, mother and stepfather, they're both Christians. Like they're different sects of Christianity, right? Like my mother's a Jehovah's Witness, my stepfather's a Catholic, but they still both believe that Christ is their savior. And they had sex before they got married. So to them, they sinned, and they felt horrible about it. And at the time, I remember like my mom telling me about it. I thought it was stupid. I was like, who cares, right? But that was stupid little feminist me, right? And yeah, your body, your choice. Or that's not the right context for that, but still, I mean, I guess you could work that into that, right? You know, it is your body, it's your choice, but wouldn't you want to make the right choice? I don't want to say anything out loud because I don't want to manifest it into reality. But the chances of me and Senna actually getting married are obviously not that high. It doesn't mean it's impossible. And I'm not gonna pray and hope for it to happen because obviously that doesn't happen like that. God will never make things happen for you, He will only guide you. towards the direction that you need to go. And well, whatever happens, happens. My destiny is my destiny, my fate is my fate. And obviously it's in my hands. I'm not just gonna sit down and expect life to happen to me. Because again, God will never do that for you. But I really hope that this works out. I really hope that I marry her. Because I don't want to spend the rest of my life, or actually, I don't want to waste more time, right? If I can get the job, build the career, get the woman, get the house, get the kids as soon as possible, then that's ideal. I don't want to be a child anymore. I feel like a child just simply by living at this house. And I know, I'm Hispanic, I'm brown, so I come from, that culture of family is everything. And I love that, right? Do not get me wrong. Of course I love that because, look at me. I'm talking about this right now. I want to have a family. But I'm sick of relying on my parents. You know, I may not be a Buddhist, but something that the Buddha said that has always stuck with me is that you need to live as if your parents are dead. He says you need to kill your father mentally. Obviously, don't kill him in real life and don't abandon him. He's gonna need you to take care of him the way that he took care of you. And even if he didn't take care of you, he's still gonna need you to take care of him. I will never abandon my father, nor will I ever abandon my mother. But I need to live as if they were dead. I need to fend for myself. Growing up as kids, we're always told what to do. We're told brush your teeth, make your bed, clean your room, take a shower. And as you get older, you get told these things a lot less. You just know to do them. But my father wasn't really part of the picture. Don't get me wrong, of course I knew him and I saw him from time to time. But he didn't play the role of a present, permanent father. So my mother had to be my father. And no woman can turn a boy into a man. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. You can argue about this forever, right? You can argue about how, oh, but like lesbians can have a boy and he'll be perfectly healthy, or two men can have a girl and she'll be perfectly healthy, or a boy, or vice versa, whatever. Sure, I mean, you can believe whatever you want, but personally, I don't believe that. Unless the boy, oh shit, my best friend just texted me. He says he feels like death. I'm gonna have to call him here in a second once I'm done with this video. But unless the boy has like another male in his life that he can look up to and be like, oh, that's how a man's supposed to be. That's what I need to grow up to be. Or if a girl who's raised by two men has a woman in her life that's like, oh, that's a woman. That's what I need to grow up to be. And I know this sounds like very controversial because it's like, oh, traditional, like, and we live in the Western world where everything is liberated and you gotta be, it doesn't matter. And I'm not, there's nothing wrong with that, sure, but that's not me. From my experiences, I don't agree with that at all. And I'll tell you why, because, like I said, my mother had to be my father, but she just couldn't do that. It wasn't in her nature to be stern, to be tough. It was in her nature to be lenient, to be loving, to be caring. And I'm not saying that a man shouldn't be loving and caring. Obviously, I'm going to be loving and caring towards my kids towards my kids as well. But of course I'm going to be stern on them. Of course I'm going to be tough. If he doesn't do his homework, I'm going to light him up. If he calls his mother a bitch, I will smack him on the mouth. Don't get me wrong though, I won't hit my kids. Like, yeah, I'll if I, like I said, I'll smack him on the mouth if he calls his mother a bitch. I've decided that a long time ago. That's the perfect punishment for that. Or as a little kid, as a baby, not as a baby, but as a toddler, if he like pulls his sister's hair or hits his little sibling and makes them cry, of course I'm gonna like spank him on the bottom and like make him cry. But mainly what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have him do push-ups. A lot of push-ups. A lot of burpees too. A lot of sit-ups, a lot of planks. I will light him up to the point that he's stronger than me, till he's more physically fit than me. And if he really chose to, he could kick my ass. But I will raise him right that he knows not to do that. I beat up my stepdad. He fought back a little bit. Not too much, though, obviously, because I'm his stepson. I'm his wife's son. You know, you beat up your wife's son, there's no coming back from that. He knows that. He's not going to ruin his marriage. He's not going to ruin this family. I don't really know what the point of this video is anymore, where I'm going with this, but I just want to get closer to myself, to Allah, to my woman, to my family, to the earth, to my friends. I want to have a real, genuine connection with everyone that I love and care about. I'm crazy, I know it. Like, I just met this woman. I don't even love her yet, and I want her to marry me. I brought it up to her. I told her, I was like, I want to marry you, this and that. And she says, oh, you say that to every woman you meet. I told her, no, you're the first woman I've ever said that to. I can't even touch her. And I don't mean emotionally, but physically, because as Muslims, you can't touch people of the opposite sex. And honestly, that's beautiful. I know as Westerners, we might think that's stupid or that's not for me or whatever, immediately just disregard it. But, like, it's the discipline. There's no other religion as disciplined as the Muslims. There's no other, like, and I think that's the thing that draws me to it the most is the discipline. I have to pray 5 times a week or 5 times a day. I've only done it twice today, in the morning and before this video. And you might think, oh, that's easy, you know. Pray. How hard could that be? Oh, Allah Akbar, you know, whatever, right? But no, like, I mean, yeah, it's easy. Don't get me wrong, but I gotta wash my hands and feet and face right before prayer, so it's not like I can just do it at work, right? I'm almost never home. I built that from being out there so long, so I'm happy about that. I really am. And I got this car fixed, for the most part. I got a thermostat because well, after I changed the tire and fixed the skid plate and fixed the exhaust because it was hanging, I kept driving it around so much and I left it on for so long that the coolant started boiling. So, well, now I need a new thermostat, so I bought a new thermostat, and I need a new water pump. Because I'm pretty sure it was just steam. It was the coolant and the water, and I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about because I only halfway know what I'm talking about. I'm not the biggest car aficionado. I love cars. I think they're amazing. I think they're cool, but I'm very ignorant towards them, just like I'm ignorant towards Islam, you know. Of course I want to learn more about it. Of course I want to learn Arabic so I can read the Quran. Right now I'm only reading an interpretation of it because, well, Allah chose Arabic as the language that the Quran would be written in because no other language had the right words for it. And that's honestly beautiful, if you ask me. I can't wait till my pilgrimage. That's gonna be fun. She hasn't texted me back since the last time I saw her. And that was 2 days ago, which is not long. And I haven't really honestly thought about it till now. But honestly, I don't want to manifest anything, of course. But what I think happened was she came to the conclusion of, well, I'm leaving in the month of October, so I'm obviously not going to date this guy. Or I'm obviously not going to marry this guy, so why date him? And she's probably just moved on and she's not going to text me back because, I mean, that's just kind of how girls are. They don't really like confrontation. Call me sexist, whatever. I know I've said a lot of controversial things in this video, but I'm not an asshole. I'm not a pig. I'm not a sexist. I'm just traditional. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't want to play games. I think games are stupid. And she thinks the same thing. So I doubt that she's playing hard to get. My little brother's here. Yeah, I really doubt that she's playing hard to get. But then again, women test you, right? Subconsciously and consciously. They will test you. Why am I overthinking this? Why am I even thinking about this at all? I need to approach this with an abundancy mindset. I was gonna talk about that earlier with like how I said I knew that girl that spoke French. I also knew another girl that like spoke Russian, and like